So, Jen, you've been writing about, and this is something we haven't talked about, I think is extremely important, not many people are talking about, which is what's happening with judicial nominations on the Hill. And we saw it again yesterday, Republicans filibustering these judicial nominations. Why? Are these people so unqualified?
No, there's 3 nominees right now to a very powerful court, the D.C. Circuit Court. It's the second most powerful court in the country after the Supreme Court.
It's considered sort of a stepping stone.
Yeah, there's several people who have gone on to the Supreme Court from this court, including John Roberts, who's now the Chief Justice. And yesterday, Senate Republicans filibustered the second nominee to that court in 2 weeks' time. So there's 3 empty seats on the court. Obama has 3 nominees. And we're now at number 2. The second one has now been filibustered. The third nominee is probably going to come up in the next couple weeks and is expected to also be filibustered. So, no, it's not anything about these nominees. And the catch, the funny part about it all is that Republicans will even admit that this isn't about them. They'll say, hey, you know what? I don't really have any problems with these 3 nominees. We just don't think Obama should fill the court. We don't think Obama should put people in the empty seats on the court. And they're pretty much abdicating their responsibility. I mean, the president has a constitutional duty to fill empty court seats. Any president. Right.
And the alternative to not filling them, right, is just backlog, delays, and more costly trials, I would imagine.
Right. And a jammed up judiciary. And it's not just this court. This is happening all over the country. And Republicans have done a very good job of preventing courts from having their seats filled. So there's some courts right now that are actually in a category of being crisis. There's a term, a judicial crisis, that is defined, and there's several courts that have been in this state since like 2007, and the Republicans just aren't letting them get filled.
And what happens? So the vote comes up and the nomination is filibustered. Is there nothing the administration can do about that? Is there nothing Harry Reid can do about that?
Well, there is something they can do, and there's been some real talk about this one. They can reform the Senate filibuster rules. They can say, hey, okay, you Republicans, you've been abusing the filibuster. You're using it in a way that you're not supposed to use it, which is just blocking everybody. Mm-hmm. So we might go ahead and just change the Senate filibuster rules and take that power away from you, so you wouldn't have the ability to filibuster certain nominees. So that would be a really big deal.
Is that what they call the nuclear option?
It's also known as the nuclear option. But all that really means is they would take away the power of the minority, who in this case is the Republican Party, to filibuster certain nominees. At least in this case, it would be probably specific to nominees. Okay, now that was threatened before.
That's right. And as I recall, and you cover this stuff on a day-to-day basis, I come in and out of it, that at the very last minute, there was a little bipartisan group that got together and came up with some Band-Aid, at least.
You could apply what you just said to just about every major crisis on Capitol Hill. At 11:59 p.m., bipartisan group quickly comes up with a Band-Aid.
But didn't they come up with some way around?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they did. But what happened?
So over the summer, they were getting very close to doing exactly what we're talking about now. That Harry Reid was up there saying, you know what, we've had it. You're blocking too many nominees that are not controversial. We need to fill these posts. The government can't operate without them, at least not as well. If you don't let up, we're going to change the rules. So at the last minute, they came up with a deal.
And what happened to that deal? Is that deal expired?
That deal was specific. It said, okay, Republicans said, okay, we'll let you get votes on these specific 9 nominees.
Got it.
And then the Democrats said, okay, give us those 9 nominees. Let us have them. What's key here to remember is that Democrats are saying, let us vote on them. They're not saying, let us pass them. They're just saying, let us vote on them. Yeah. So Harry Reid said, okay, we'll agree not to change the rules if you let us vote on these 9 nominees. So they agreed on it, and those 9 nominees got votes, and they all passed, and with little fanfare. I mean, most of them passed with Republican votes.
So what are the chances of getting another deal like that here? Any talk of that, or?
Well, it's not quite at that point. There's a real grumbling now about the level of obstruction of nominees again. But we're now, I think with the plan, my guess is, since they've got 3 nominees to the D.C. Circuit Court, and that's a very important court to Obama, very important court to his legacy, they've just filibustered the second one. I think Harry Reid's going to put up the third nominee. Watch and see what happens. He's probably going to be filibustered. That means all 3 will have been filibustered. And I think at that point, Harry Reid and other Democrats will feel they've got enough to make the case to say, look, you just filibustered all 3 of these nominees. We're going to change the rules unless you make a deal with us.
Right.
I predict something will happen before the end of the year.